Choosing a resume format should not be your biggest worry. So in this video, I'm gonna be walking you through how to choose between a traditional versus modern resume. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittany Hayles, and I am a career coach and also the founder of Hayles Consulting, a business dedicated to helping you gain confidence and peace of mind in your career. Choosing a resume format is sometimes more stressful than writing the resume itself, and it shouldn't be, because you should be directing most of your energy to actually writing the resume, because that is what portrays your professional story. Choosing that format is also incredibly important, but again, put most of your energy into writing the resume. So in this video, I'm going to be talking you through when you should choose a traditional resume versus when you should choose a modern resume. Before we even get started here, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below. Also, on Instagram, I post career tips, interview tips, resume tips, all kinds of tips on a daily basis. So do not forget to follow Hayles Consulting on Instagram. Just do it right now. All right, let's get started. Before we get started in the method on how to choose between the traditional versus modern, I want to define it. So let's go ahead and go more into detail about what exactly are the pros and cons of using a traditional resume versus a creative or modern resume. A traditional resume can be used in any industry, which makes it awesome and universal. Now, another major pro of a traditional resume is that it doesn't require any fancy software. You don't have to download a program. It's pretty easy to make on almost any program that allows you to type a document. And the last pro of a traditional resume is that it's traditional, which means it's simple. And because it's simple, it allows you to focus more on the content than on the design. So instead of stressing out and spending hours and hours and hours trying to prove and make the perfect design, you're focusing more of your time on developing the content for the resume versus trying to figure out what it looks like. When it comes to cons for a traditional resume, in my opinion, there's only one. And that one is that it's traditional. And that means, because of the fact that it's so traditional, it leaves very little room for creativity or individuality. But obviously, when you make something incredibly simple to design, it probably means that other candidates will use it as well. But to make sure that your traditional resume stands out, focus really hard on developing impactful content and really sharing your professional story in your resume. Because of the fact that it's so simple and so easy, it actually can be made pretty much anywhere you can create a document online or on your computer. So Microsoft Word, Canva, Google Docs, any platform in which you can type content, you can make a resume. And what's really great about Microsoft Word and Google Docs and Canva is that the templates are already made for you, which is awesome because then you don't even have to design it. So the design is very simple and easy to format. Now, a modern or a creative resume, which some people refer to it as, is just that. It's modern. It just recently became used within the past 5 or 6 years. Sometimes it has a photo, different types of fonts throughout the resume, or even colors, and so much more as well. But it basically allows people to really focus on design just instead of simplicity with the resume. If you are in a creative industry, like the tech industry, or the film industry, or the makeup industry, or anything related to using your hands to physically create things, or just in a creative industry itself, I would highly recommend that you consider creating a creative or modern resume, just because of the fact that that design capability or that ability to really input designing your resume will be beneficial for you in terms of applying to an industry where design is a huge component of your job. Now, some of the pros of using a modern resume is that first and foremost, it really allows you to be an individual. You get to carefully craft what colors you want to use. Do you want to use your photo? Do you want to use a font? Like, you can get very creative and create a resume that really reflects what you want to reflect. Now, the second pro to a modern resume is that it really allows your resume to stand out. If you use a design that no one else is using, that could potentially catch the eye of a recruiter. And that's a pro. You want to do everything you possibly can to draw attention to your resume. So that's another huge pro of using a modern or creative resume, is because of the fact that you personally designed it, it could stand out just because of that. Now, the main con to using a modern resume is that it can be too modern, and that can hurt you during the recruiting process. So some of the things that tend to happen when a resume is too modern or too creative is that people get really excited about using tons of colors. And when you use a lot of colors, or when you use light colors up against a light background, no one can read it. So when you're designing a creative resume or a modern resume, just make sure that it is as simple as possible. It's great to use colors, it's great to show off your personality, but you want to make sure that when you design your resume, you're remembering that someone has to read it. So check the readability. Make sure that you're not using light font colors up against a light background. Now, in terms of where you can create a modern or creative resume, you can use a really fancy software program like Adobe Photoshop, or you can use Canva, which is an awesome program as well. And what's great about Canva is that they have pre-made templates for you. And most of the templates I've seen are not crazy and pretty easy to read as long as you're using the right font colors. So I would say stick to one of those two platforms that allow you to create a creative or modern resume. Also, Microsoft Word and Google Docs both have templates that have a more creative design with colors and formatting and spaces for profile photos as well. As I said earlier in this video, your resume comes down to the content. I can't stress it any further. If you portray your professional story from an impactful manner on your resume, that will immediately allow it to stand out. So look at your format as a way to structure your professional story in a way that best reflects you. Again, as a career coach, I'd be more than happy to make sure that your resume stands out from the crowd. So you can book a resume review with me by emailing me at info@haylesconsulting.com. You can go ahead and click in the description box down below where I provide more information on how to access the resume review section of my website. As usual, thank you all so much for watching. Do not forget to subscribe before you leave this video today. Also, like this video, share it with anyone who you know is struggling to pick between two resume formats, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!